Let's continue talking about our Texas exams. Here's some basic information about your certification exams. They all have a name and the number associated with them. It is very important for you to know yours because it may change from today's date until next year or the following semester when you decide to test. Keep that in mind because it has happened. Your exams are also only given at approved testing sites. They are all administered by computer. There is no paper exam. You do have specific time allotted, the specific type of questions that are multiple choice, or there may be a constructive writing piece that you have to answer as well. But they all vary as well as by the length and the type of exam. Again, that is the website, that Pearson website that you see here. That is where you are going to log on to create your account. Once you have approval, then you register there for your exam. And these are the following steps on how you can follow specifically to register for your exam once you have that approval. Keep in mind our policy for our exams. Again, this is the law set by our state, not the University of Houston Clear Lake. We have to follow it. Our educator preparation program is the one that determines the readiness of each candidate, how to take that appropriate certification examination of content, pedagogy, and professional responsibilities. This also includes professional ethics and standards of conduct. Please know that as an EPP, we do not grant test approval for a certification examination until we are sure that a candidate has met all those requirements. That means you are in our teacher education program, you are getting credit for your TCED 4100 class, and you are competent and ready and knowledgeable to take these exams. So please keep that in mind because through our educator program here in the university, we make sure that once you are ready, you will be testing. Keep in mind that because this does affect your certification exam status as well as your ability to obtain a teaching position upon graduation. Your results on your exams also affect the accreditation of our teacher education program. So it's very important for you to know the policies that we have set in place. That way we ensure your success as students as you're continuing through our educator program. If you have any other questions, you can always reach out to me or get clarity as well. Now, what do you need to do in order to get your first exam approval? So again, remember, as a university, we are the ones that grant you that allowance. I am the one as the coordinator that will specifically reach out to you and tell you if you've been approved or denied. But in order to get your first attempt, you have to first of all get credit for this course, TCED 4100 or 4102. The next step is apply and be accepted into our teacher education program, which has some specific requirements. Again, your advisor could be the best person to specify and clarify this for you if you have that. Step 3 would be submit those approved PSP documents that you complete in this course and as you're preparing your study time for your exams. And then lastly, 4th, pass a practice exam with the 240 or 80%. Once all of these things have been submitted, have been verified by the state assessment coordinator, email them to the state assessment coordinator. I will then typically reply within 3 business days or sooner. If you need clarification on these steps, again, you can always visit the state assessment website. I do have them listed as well. Okay. Our teacher education program. This is the link specifically to the instructions on how to complete this application. Some of you may have already started this application because you're almost close to finishing the prerequisites. If you have not, I encourage you visit it so that you know what you need to do in order to be accepted into this program. This link right here will tell you specifically the steps through Blackboard how to complete the application. But for those of you that do not know what those prerequisite courseworks are, again, this is also listed on your degree plan in the back. But let's just go over it so that you can see it. The prerequisite coursework has to be completed with a C- or better. That means you have to get credit for EDUC 4310, INST 3313, Silk 4315, and completion or credit of TCED 4100 and 4102. In addition to that, remember, you have to have created that TEA login ID prior to the application because you will need that unique identification number to complete your application. So these are the 5 things that we need to make sure you have as you're applying to our teacher education program. This slide specifically gives you instructions on how to create your TEA ID account. Now, you will go more into detail with this in this course. I believe it's an assignment that you complete in here with your professors in TCED 4100. And so all of the information is hyperlinked on here so that you can follow. But I just want to remind you, everyone has to have a TEA ID account because it remains active for your entire teaching career. So at any time, if you change your name, you get married, you change your address, you need to be updating this as well on your TEA ID. In addition to that, also use your personal email, not your U of H email, because again, it follows you throughout your career. Update your personal information, whether it's a change of address, change of phone number, anything like that, keep it active. And again, if you are already in the classroom as an instructional aide or helping out as a para, you should not have to reapply for this ID account. You already have one created whenever you first started in the district that you're in. So now we're going to talk about those PSPs. You are completing these, actually you're beginning these throughout your coursework here in TCED 4100. But you will be completing them for every exam that you are preparing for throughout your timeline. I need you to log what you're studying, what you're using, for how long. Log those minimum hours depending on that exam. So if you look closely, this PSP, which is also available through the state assessment website, tells you specifically how many hours you have to study. So for instance, core subjects, you have to have a minimum of 5 hours per subject. So you're going to fill out one of these for ELAR, one PSP for math, one for social studies, one for science, and then one for the PE, fine arts, and health section. If you are doing one for the PPR, it tells you specifically at least 15 hours minimum. So make sure you are logging this, being as detailed as you can. Save it as an appropriate file name. That means it's identifiable, either a PDF or a document. Try to be unique when you are creating and saving this file. Make sure it has your name on there, specifically that content that you are preparing it for. I will not accept any identifiable file names. That means the generically ones that are generated through the computer. Try to also be very specific as that. And if you notice, again, this is an assignment you will turn at the end of the class when the semester's over. Your professor will check off on this. So once that is uploaded on your assignment board and Blackboard and it's finished, send that over to state assessments so I can keep track of it and save it on your personal records, because that is a part that we do in order to get you approval for your certification. And here's a direct link to that state assessment website where you can get a blank sample. So I want to talk a little bit about those supplemental exams. Some of you may be taking the ESL 154, which is English as a Second Language. This is a very short clip that gives you an example of why it is necessary for most of us that are in the classroom are ESL certified. So if you get a chance, please click on that. If not, your professor can show you, but it gives you a great synopsis of how big our districts are growing in the state of Texas and the necessity and the importance for us to be certified in ESL in order to be able to support our students in the classroom. Okay, now here is the recommended timeline for you to take the order of your exams. Now this is just a sample. It does focus more on the EC through 6, 4 through 8 concentration, as well as the ELAR 7 through 12. But it is recommended that the first exam you take as soon as you finish TCED 4100 be the PPR. After that, you should take the Science of Teaching Reading, and then your core subjects and your supplementals. So if you are EC through 6, 4 through 8 core subjects, or 4 through 8 ELAR, that is the recommended order for you. If you are under EC through 6 bilingual concentration, special ed, ESL, again, you would take PPR first, your STR, then the concentration like the BTLPT, your bilingual supplements, and then lastly, your core subjects. If you are secondary, we recommend you take the PPR, of course, and then that ELAR has 2 constructed responses. And I do want to say the reason we ask you to take the STR second is because you are limited to the times that it is available in the month and offered, as well as to the locations that it's offered in the Houston area. So that is a timeline you want to map out, you want to keep in mind, because again, all your exams must be passed before that January 1st deadline or August 1st deadline of when you are starting internship 2. So think of it this way, your last semester before you graduate and you start internship 2, you have to have all these exams passed. Your scores have to be in. So it's very crucial that you have that. The next exam that I want to talk about is the BTLPT. Now, those of you that are under the bilingual program certification, you will be responsible for taking this 190, the Bilingual Target Language Oral Proficiency Test. This one is a little bit different and in the sense of getting approval, because you will also have to complete a PSP, do a practice exam, but you also have to have SILP 4301 and 4305 completed and passed. In addition to that, you also have to complete a free bilingual BTLPT workshop that your professors host. Typically, it's Dr. Marquez and Dr. Gauna, and so your attendance is required. You have to complete that workshop. It is free. It's offered once a semester. It's typically around the fall, mid-season, spring, mid-season, or even the summer. But again, you do have to take it. Once you complete that workshop, the professors email me, tell me who they are recommending for approval. And then from there, once I get your practice exams and your PSPs on file, then I can go in and verify you to get that approval. So it is a 2-part system if you are seeking the bilingual certification. Remember, this exam is also limited on location and times throughout the month. So be prepared when you are registering. That is why we suggest that the BTLPT is not the last exam that you take. It should be either the 3rd or in the middle. Additional supplemental exams that are available are special education, the 163, and this is the direct link to the Pearson website that you can log on to see the types of resources that are available, workshops and sample questions if you need that additional support. And then lastly, we have our STR, number 293, which is one of the newer exams, Science of Teaching Reading. These can be taken in the following certification areas. So if you are EC through 6 grade levels, if you are core subjects grades 4 through 8, ELAR 4 through 8, ELAR in reading and social studies 4 through 8. So again, it's a newer exam. It's one of the pricier ones. It's around $136. 90 selected response questions with 1 writing response question that you have to submit. But keep in mind, this is very similar to that bilingual exam that I was talking about, where you're limited to where it's available, the times of the month it's available, because the scoring takes about 2 to 3 weeks to release. So again, that is something important you need to keep in mind for when it comes to mapping out the order of your timeline to present these exams. Again, this is another website you can click onto specifically through my state assessment website, but it has a compilation of resources that our professors and our faculty have shared with us, YouTube videos, hands-on resources that will help and prepare you for this certification area.